Good evening, everybody. How we doing on this Friday afternoon? This is Terry with NSPS TV Paranormal Podcast, and no, again, 2 weeks in a row, I do not have an investigation. I might have to do something about that, but in the meantime, hey, that's okay, because these guys flew me out with their private jet to Savannah, Georgia, to hang out with them and talk with them and see what they got going on. Uh, Man, this is a very interesting name. I'm trying to figure out where the coast comes from. Maybe because they're on the coast. But anyway, guys, let's do a big warm welcome for Ghost Coast Paranormal out of Savannah, Georgia. And you know what? I always seem to get Savannah name wrong. I don't never put the H in there, but I did this time. So hey, guys, introduce yourselves.
I'm Courtney.
My name is Micah, and we are Ghost Coast Paranormal.
You weren't gonna do it.
We're gonna do it. You're gonna do it from the other side.
No.
Yeah, you gotta do it from that side.
Woo.
There you go.
All right. Hey guys, welcome to the show, man. I really appreciate it. Like we were talking earlier, I know it's short notice, but we were able to get a little advertising going, and so on and so on. But hey, I appreciate it. Let's come on. Let's have some fun.
Yeah, well, thank you for having us as well. Thanks for inviting us on, and we're always willing to talk and just have a good time. Put our thoughts out there, and this is what this is all about: getting ghost hunters together and seeing what we could put together. You know.
Yes, matter of fact, dude, I have so many friends that came on the show that are paranormal investigators. Man, you probably know some of them. Teams that are out there around. There's one team, particular in Savannah, that I've had on the show. I tried to reach out to them to do it like a little. If you guys knew, they'll do it like a little surprise pop in, but they never answered back. But hey, all you guys that are streaming live tonight with me, are you guys on Kick? Rumble, Instagram, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, my personal Facebook page, and my podcast page. Guys, welcome to the show. I know it's a Friday. I know you guys rather be out drinking beer and just forgetting about your work day. But hey, I'm glad you're here with me. And with enough said, guys, please go over to their Facebook page, hit that share, hit that like. Let's get these numbers up for these guys before the end of the podcast. But with enough said, hey, we're going to take a quick break. I got to pay some bills, and we will come back and we will start picking brain cells after that. So, hey, stay right with us. In the meantime, let's just do some music.
Yeah.
We had a dog.
We have the ghost hunting wiener right here.
The ghost hunting wiener.
Yeah, hold up your wiener, honey.
What's his name?
This is Mocha.
Hi, Mocha. What's going on, buddy?
Music. We were hanging out.
Yeah, see. All right, guys. Hey, welcome to the NSPS TV Paranormal Podcast. Welcome to the show again for the third time. I like to put that out there. But hey, let's get this party started. You guys are in Savannah, Georgia. Allegedly, the most haunted city in the country.
Yes, sir.
Is that true?
I would say yes. That's how I fell in love with this city. I lived in California most all my life, and then when I came to the city and I started like really taking the ghost tours, like the walking ghost hunting tours and things like that, I really realized like this is where it's at if it comes to ghost hunting. I mean, the only other place I could think of was like Louisiana
New
or
Orleans.
maybe,
That's what we were talking about when he called the
St.
other day.
Augustine, maybe. Like, I mean, that's the only other places I could think of. If you just had a city on top of the dead, where would it be? And this is it.
It's Savannah.
It's Savannah. Like everybody always comes here and they talk to us and they're like, what's haunted around here? And it's like, well,
everything.
Pretty much everything downtown. And otherwise, I mean, there's even stuff outside of town that's you can find that's just completely haunted. It's insane. I mean,
wow.
You have all major wars of the United States that have trampled through here. You have Revolutionary War, the Siege of Savannah. You have the Civil War right here. I mean, this was it. I mean, there wasn't much of a fight, when Sherman took over Savannah, but he had to tune in a couple of different places like Fort Pulaski, which fell in about 36 hours and it was supposed to be impenetrable. But the South fell because the North figured out how to rifle the barrels in their cannons. So it fell super quick, and then Sherman just took over the city. There was no resistance. There was nothing really going on. A lot of people believe that there was a huge battle here, but man, the thing is that the mosquitoes and yellow fever took out a lot more things than anything else, So what did we do with them? We buried them all over the city. When it came to soldiers, you buried them right where they laid, pretty much. I mean, you got to think of the squares. A lot of people believe the squares in Savannah are just parks. And the thing was it was the people that lived around the squares. That was their backyard. So you got to think they'd have chicken coops and they would have little gardens and they would have a cemetery. If you weren't Protestant, you weren't buried in Colonial Park Cemetery in town. So you had to figure out where to bury your family. So
wow.
Now they're all got some nice grass and some nice monuments on them, and they look like a nice, beautiful little park. I mean, they're all gorgeous, but a lot of people do not know that when you're walking across those parks, that typically they had cemeteries in those squares
or mass burials.
Yeah,
all mass burials. Oh wow! Now, is the whole town? Now, is Savannah a city or a town?
No, it's a city.
Okay, is this whole city of Savannah a historical marker? Or is it certain locations that are historical markers?
So downtown mostly. So right off of the Savannah River. So basically, we could see right over into South Carolina from Savannah. Anything along the riverfront down here, anything more closer to downtown, like if you're going to go downtown, if you come downtown Savannah, look up the historic district of Savannah. When you come downtown, you'll start to see these buildings that look like they're from the 1800s and they're from the 1700s. Well, they are. I mean, the history here is tangible. But there's a downtown portion. And of course, you have like South Savannah and you have things like this. That's where your malls are. I mean, you got to think we're it's a pretty big place. We have malls. We have everything that everybody would possibly need downtown. And I'm talking about downtown, more South Savannah. Historic district of Savannah is more North Savannah. So.
Okay, so with that
here, I mean, the thing is you go off little portions of the rivers, and there used to be plantations off of all these things, and I mean, we know what type of energy those bring, right? I mean, I did pond management for a company, and we got called onto a piece of land, and it was like, as soon as I drove onto the land, I was like, I told my partner in the truck, I was like, this don't feel right, man. And he's like, I think this used to be an old plantation. And I was like, and so the caretaker of the plantation was there, and he walks up, and I go, man, what's up with this? And he goes, well, this was a plantation. That was the old hanging tree, and that was this. And I'm like, yo, like that's tangible history. That makes it all real. Like when it's one thing when you live in some state where this stuff isn't tangible, and then when you're really standing in front of places and you really can touch the tree and you can touch the house and you can it makes it really real.
And you can feel their energy from either one of those.
Or an empath.
Yeah, very.
Ooh, wait, can you imagine touching a tree where there's been multiple hangings? Oh my God, dude.
Yeah.
It can literally vibrate your damn hand off.
It really could. Yeah.
All right, guys. Hey, with that being said, are you guys? I mean, how often does your phone ring?
Quite often, dude.
When does it not?
So not only do we do tours and stuff for Truth and Evidence Haunted Tours,
Right.
I mean, we do the Historic Savannah Theater every 6 nights a week. I mean, that's 10:30 to 1:30, 6 nights a week. We offer tours. People can come and actually do a tour there. And that's actually through Truth and Evidence Haunted Tours. And we do that. And then our phone rings constantly. I'll be honest with you. The past month, 2 months, we have not had a weekend where we haven't had a personal investigation. And that's where the Ghost Coast Paranormal comes in. And this is what we do. We actually will come in and help people out. I mean, a lot of people, they don't feel like they have a lot of people to talk to. We've been finding out, like, why haven't you talked to people about this? Well, I'm in the military, and people are going to think that I'm crazy. And it's like, no, you're not. Let's talk about it.
Quite normal.
Yeah, it's quite normal, especially in a house where 2 people have passed away.
Right. Now, when people go to Savannah, when they move there, of course, people don't move there and not do research of the history of the city and the town. Okay, so when they get there, they already know what they're getting themselves into.
Mm-hmm.
They know, hey, this is a haunted area, blah, 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 this, that. And compare, okay, like this. When people move in and people that were born there, they already know the history of the location. They already know the history on what happened there. So who calls you more? People that don't know and they want to figure out, or people that know and they just wanted to see if they're not crazy?
Well,
there's a mix of both.
Take it away.
There's a mix of both. I mean, because some of the house calls that we do, usually go to, it's some of them are in the historical district, and they're aware of what they have purchased, but they don't know what exactly they're dealing with. Okay, so they're wanting answers. Like, yeah, I know my house is haunted. What's it haunted by? Who is it? Why are they here? They want to get those answers
right
to us. Now, there's sometimes, like recently, where what the hell's going on? What? Why? And they don't know because they weren't aware when they purchased the house what had happened until after they had moved in. You're like, I wish someone would have disclosed this. Yeah, no, it doesn't happen. Like
I wish somebody would have told me that 2 people died in my living room. That would have been nice to know.
That is interesting. Hey, is the Historical Society, is that the first number on your call list?
No, we are completely separate from the Historical Society.
Yeah.
So they've never called you guys for anything?
Are you talking about the Historical Society itself?
Yes.
Are you talking about paranormal?
No, I mean the guys that, because you said there's a historical district. Without a Historical Society that runs, controls, and take care of those old locations, those are the ones I'm talking about.
Okay, gotcha. No, we've never been called by them per se.
No, we do research through them. Like, we'll go to get the public record, so they know about us. Yeah, but they don't really call us. Yeah, they recommend us sometimes.
We have been recommended, but they're more into the preservation, which is all what we're about as well. I mean, we're not into just going in and stirring up ghosts and then leaving for somebody else to deal with. We want to go in and find answers for folks, and then actually have some sort of answer for them. You know what I mean?
Because one thing I do know about historical societies, sometimes it's not what you know is who you know to get into some of these haunted locations. Um, and you would think in a city like that where every street corner you could possibly see a ghost, uh, man, they would have hard time keeping employees, especially those that work in these locations. Yes, I'm pretty sure some of these old buildings or or law offices or they do something with these buildings. And people sometimes see things that they don't understand, and some people know what they see and just get the hell out of there and say, "Hey,
I
I'm
watched
not coming back."
The Dollar what is it, CVS?
At CVS, I watched a kid quit one day.
See?
I swear to God, dude. I swear to you, brother. We were sitting there. I was looking at Mucinex because I was sick at the time. This was about a year ago, and I was looking at the box, and a box of Tampax flies off the back wall and lands like. And I'm not talking about this falls down off the shelf. This is I'm 20 feet away, and this thing like lands about 4 feet away from my foot. And I'm sitting there looking down the runway, or down the aisle, and I was like, "What the heck?" And this kid pops around the corner. He goes, "Did you see that?" And I was like, "Yeah, I saw that." And he's like, "Nah, I'm done. I'm done." And he took off his smock, he laid it on the thing, and he walked out. Dude, and I was like, "What?"
Man, that was quick.
Yes,
now you gotta tell them what that CVS is.
Oh, the CVS is the original jailhouse of Savannah.
Yeah.
So it's the original jail. It was in the basement were the original jail cells.
Interesting place.
So it was like the original house. Place of justice. It was typically where all your police would hang out and stuff like that. And it was like a jailhouse.
Okay. Now, is the whole city of Savannah, is there certain locations where you feel nothing but negative vibes?
Yeah.
And then there's some areas where you feel it's okay. It's positive. I feel some positive energy. What side of the city where where you would feel the negative and the positive?
I'll be honest with you. Probably the more negative feelings that I've ever had have been like it used to be Calhoun Square, and it's now Taylor Square. Calhoun Square was originally a burial ground for slaves. So it was like if you lived outside of town, because typically Forsyth Park, if you come here, Forsyth Park is gorgeous. It's a beautiful park. It has this big, beautiful fountain in it. If you go online and Google Forsyth Park in Savannah, or even fountains in Savannah, you're gonna find Forsyth Park in there. Forsyth Park used to be the outskirts of town, or it used to be like right on the city edge. So anything past that was typically it was farmland essentially, and so plantations were all out there. And so on a typical basis, if somebody died on your land or a slave had passed away, then you would take them down to Calhoun Square and then bury them in Calhoun Square. Now, Calhoun is actually the last name of the biggest slave trader in the United States, or maybe the world. George C. Is it George C. Calhoun? Calhoun.
Yeah. What about him?
He's the biggest. John C. Excuse me.
George.
John C. His name is John. John Calhoun was one of the biggest slave traders probably in the world, and then they named that site after him. Which why would you do that? So we changed it recently to Taylor Square, which is good. It's
who is Taylor?
So Taylor was she was a teacher. She was one of the first Black teachers here in town.
And she was also one of the first African American nurses.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And instead of doing something positive like that, they named it after the biggest slave trader in the world, basically. And so, I used to be able to walk on there and you just feel it. You just feel that negative, like you're not supposed to be there, and especially if you're any bit other than Black, right? So I mean, that was their spot. I mean, so yeah, I've walked out there and I've taken a spirit box out there and asked questions and get F words and get out and leave and things like this.
Now, do you think that's the case where the the spirits would actually feel a little different if you are a part of their culture compared to a part of another culture, or it might depends on how present yourself, uh, and
Yeah.
so on and so on.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing. We've had people, that we've told on the tours, like we stop by there. That's one of the squares that we take you to, and we tell you the real stories. A lot of people get upset, it's like, this is history. This is a part of our history. This is what it is, right? So the thing is some people can't shut their mouths, and some people are disrespectful. You can't control everybody. And we've had we have on our iPad pictures of where people have gotten scratched there. If you're going to sit there and disrespect people and call them certain names, and then expect you're just going to walk away unscathed, I mean, don't do that in every town. I mean, Savannah definitely, because we have pictures of people being scratched on that square. I think the reason why I think it is because it was a sign of the time. I mean, the way it was. I mean, yeah, there was a culture. There was a Gullah Geechee culture here. There was a voodoo culture. There was things like that going on because we were stealing people from their homes.
Oh wow! So you're telling me I can go to the same location? Hell, they might have a party for me, huh?
You know what I'm saying? You part of it. You know what I mean? So like that's it. And then talking about the more positive points in town.
It does feel better now ever since the renaming.
I was gonna say it does feel less hectic since the renaming. I'll be honest with you, it does. So. And I'm just somebody that totally believes in spirits, and you know what I mean. Like I'm a skeptical-minded investigator. Like it can be explained, but there's certain places here in town that you can feel it, and that's what you're asking, and that's one of them places where you do feel it. And then the good places in town, there's a lot of great places. I do believe that the historic Savannah Theater was the heartbeat of Savannah. The historical Savannah Theater to me was a place where people heard music for the first time. So to me, that square and everything about that area downtown is just, to me, it feels like it's a heartbeat. Yeah, that's the positive energy to me. I know that is where Forrest Gump was filmed. So,
okay. Now let's talk about a little bit downtown. Now, old downtown Savannah. So I'm trying to get this picture. So you're looking at maybe 1760s, 70s, and 80s. You're looking like an old Western town. Something you see in a movie. You might see saloons, like you're saying, theaters and stuff like that. You might have a couple of brothels running around, women of the night and so on and so on. Are any of those brothels or gambling places, are any of those places still around?
Well, damn, we just lost one of them.
Yeah.
We lost an all-in-one.
Yeah, we had Moon River Brewing Company. If you've ever heard of Moon River Brewing Company, it's been on every TV show that you can possibly think of. Throw a rock and you're going to hit somebody that's been there. But that place was the city hotel. It was a businessman's hotel. So there was everything from alcohol, gambling, girls. You could get a post office, a bank. That was all in that one building. It was a one-stop shop for gentlemen. And it used to be called Moon River Brewing Company, and it just recently shut down, which we're pretty upset and devastated about, because that gave a lot of people access to the building, and without it being open, we lost all access. I mean,
is that building for sale or for lease, or what's their plan?
God awful amount of money, man.
You want to pay $37 million?
$37 million. That just sounds like a quadrillion, gabillion, gazillion. That's just, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, that's unattainable,
But it's right there off the river. I mean,
but you gotta realize, guys, this day and age, $37 million is not a lot of money.
No, someone's gonna come by and pick it up.
Yeah,
developers. I just wish, and my thing is with ghost hunting, is I just want to bring awareness to like these buildings that we go into. plain and simple, like you got to understand that going into these buildings and doing these tours, it might be $85. It might be $100 for 3 or 4 hours or something like that. Or you might rent it for $600 for the night. Or, oh God, we paid $2,600 for like the St. Augustine Lighthouse for the night. But these things, you know, like you go, ouch, in an instance, but and the long sense of it is we're helping those places out to stay open for us to be able to go into. And so that's why I always tell people, like, when they come to our tours, hey, I hope this is your new hobby, because all I need is you to go to more places like this, because the more of us doing stuff like this, then the more that they'll keep these places open.
Right. Now, your ghost tours, or your ghost tours consist of visitors or actual residents of the community?
Both.
Yeah. And which ones you get the more big reaction out of?
Locals.
The locals.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Even though the locals have an idea on what happened there and what's, you know.
You'll be surprised how many people actually don't know what's going on.
Yeah. You said earlier, you're like, yeah, people like research when they come. A lot of people don't.
No,
a lot of people,
the theater.
A lot of people come to Savannah and they think, oh, antebellum style buildings and the old downtown style, you know, Savannah. We've all heard of it. A lot of people don't know about the ghosts. We've had people come in and they're just be like, what's going on with the ghosts here? And you're just like, whoa. How much time do you have? You know, so like, yeah.
Every day is Halloween over there. That's pretty much what you're saying.
Yeah.
Every day. Now, man, police department. I bet you they're very active with what's going on in Savannah. Not as far as, and I'll be honest with you guys, I'm pretty sure they get more paranormal calls than actual calls that they need service for.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's actually a hazing ritual here in Savannah for certain squares and certain calls. We actually have a ghost story. What square? Right square? Yeah.
Right square.
Yeah. You want to tell that one?
What's that one?
The hanging. Come on.
The hanging.
Yeah.
With what? A cop?
No. Of what the hazing ritual is.
I don't know. What are you talking about?
Who's the indentured servant who got hung? What's her name again?
Alice Riley.
Alice Riley. I couldn't think of her name for something. But Alice Riley is actually one of the spirits here in Wright Square. And the police actually use her as a hazing ritual because they get so many calls about a little red-haired female that has lost her child.
Oh, wow.
And so many calls, they're actually not allowed to like send police officers out anymore unless it's a newbie, because they get so many calls about a missing child.
Oh, wow.
It's become like a thing now because of Alice.
Now, Alice Riley was kept in
the
CVS. So remember I was telling you about the CVS being haunted?
Right.
Well, that might have been Alice Riley that threw the box of tampons at me. I believe she's probably calling me the P word. But anyways, she's
never know.
Here, P word, take that. So Alice Riley was kept in that jail. Well, she was she was an Irish indentured servant, and she ended up meeting another indentured servant when they worked for this one guy, or when they worked for this master, per se. And so what they did is they actually fell in love with each other, the two Irish indentured servants. And I believe that the man was making the girl do stuff that she didn't want to do. Anyways, they ended up killing this dude in a bathtub. Well, they hung him right off the rip. They just took him, hung him, right? And they put her up on the gallows. Now, this is the first woman to be hung in the United States. And they put her up on the gallows and they said, "Do you have any last words?" And she goes, "Yes, I'm pregnant. I'm with child." Right? So they took her off there and they put her back into what was the CVS, back in the jailhouse. She spent her term in the jailhouse. When she gave birth, they took her outside. They cleaned her up, took her outside, hung her that day. And then her baby ended up dying about, I don't know, a week and a half, 2 weeks later.
Yeah, 2 weeks later from being passed around, not having a mom. I mean, because his name was James. He did have a name. His name was James. And just not having a mom to help, you know.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah.
So.
That is a lot.
That all happened in that CVS, right? So.
Now, how many of these plantation homes are left in Savannah?
Oh, there's quite a bit. we just had one of my I don't know if you would say favorites. It was a beautiful antebellum style home. It was out in Darien, Georgia.
We just lost that one.
And a man went in there and burned it to the ground.
Wow.
And you know, it's just one of those things. Like when I seen it, the house was so gorgeous. I mean, there's plaques and everything about what had happened at that house, and it's terrible. It's the stories about that place. It was the worst on slaves than any other plantation in the area. I believe the plantation across the street was the basis for Gone with the Wind as well. So that tells you.
Now, are you guys able to have access to any of those plantation homes?
There's one, but it's not in Savannah. It's on the outskirts. So like we have a lot of plantation homes here in Savannah, yes, but there's also ones on the outside. So we have a couple on the outside, you know, like in Richmond Hill or in Hinesville. They're still out everywhere, honestly. And I know some people that own a couple of them that we're able to get into. But it's up in the air right now because I think they're going for sale.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't want to bring that stuff, you know, like there are a lot of plantation style homes that they've turned into Airbnbs and they've made hotels and things like this out of, but a lot of people don't want that stuff, you know. They just want
paranormal.
They don't want the paranormal there. They don't want it to blow up that way.
Well, I'm sorry. The minute one of my customers in an Airbnb, you know, come downstairs and tell me, "Hey, somebody drugged me out of bed," what the hell am I going to tell them?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
No, well, the thing is, it's like nowadays you just lean into the ghost, man. Like the thing, if you have a business and it's haunted, lean into it.
Lean into it. You got to tap into it.
Yeah.
You know, you never know who you might get. I mean, dude, you might get, you know, one of the biggest paranormal gurus, and dude, and next thing you know, he get dragged out of the bed, and your business goes off running.
I mean, yeah. Whoosh. Now you can't not book that room.
Right.
And, you know, it's like certain rooms downtown here, you can't book them for 5 years out.
Yeah, it's been booked.
You know what I mean? People book these things 5 years out, and you're just like,
that's crazy. No, and I'll be honest with you guys. I really don't care about the house. If I was to go to a plantation home, I wouldn't care about the house because nothing major really happened in the house. You know, so I'm more concerned about the slave quarters, the grounds, and all the energy that surrounds that house.
Then let me tell you something. Then come here.
Oh,
if this is something that you've ever wanted to experience in your life, or this is something to where you feel like you just need to see it, or you just want to see where it happened, or you want to see it, just like I said earlier, it makes it real. Like everybody across the United States, you know, like we hear it, we learned it, we might know the history.
Now come do it.
But when you're standing on the steps that slaves were sold on, it hits different.
Oh, I can imagine, dude. I can probably feel the emotion.
You know what I mean? Is
this something? I mean, Savannah, so dark in history. Is this something that they teach in school? What happened in that town, in that city? Does Savannah School District teach that?
I have no clue. Not like it should be. I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, the culture, I mean, you gotta, you know, for people that might be listening that don't know like slave like culture, it was more of like we took them from certain areas and locations that when they came here, the only way that they can practice their own things and do their own things were in secrecy. Right? And it was against the people that took them. Right. And a lot of people don't understand that. When they came here, they had their own way of living, their own way of thinking. A lot of people like, I mean, you know, you look at a lot of cartoons back in the 80s and 90s, and it was like, you know, medicine man this and medicine that man that. Well, that's what it was. These people were medicine people. They'll wrap their feet in certain herbs and spices that will pull the toxins out of your body. Like you see all these patches and stuff that you could buy today. Salon Paws makes these things that you put on the bottom of your feet and it takes out the stuff. These people thought about it 300 years ago, right? 200 years ago. They were doing it. These people knew about natural medicine and knew about things that we had no clue about.
Now, before the slaves, and there were Native Americans there.
Absolutely. Yeah.
The Yamacraw.
Absolutely. The Yamacraw.
How does Savannah treat the Native American culture that's there?
You want to be honest with you?
Be honest with me.
They kind of wiped it out. We're erasing history here.
Okay, and what tribe? Have you guys know what tribe was there before all this started?
The Yamacraw. The Yamacraw tribe.
So their names were the Yamacraw. Their chief was Chief Tamachichi. And they actually lived here, and this was their area. And they kind of the Yamacraw kind of fell in love with
the colonization.
They saw these people with different clothes, and they were like, "Yo."
They fell in love with the white skin.
Yeah,
something that they've never saw before.
And the buildings and the tactics of farming and doing these certain things, like, you know, Tamachichi was like, "Yo, we can get on board with this. They got cool ass kicks, and they can grow corn like nobody else.
And don't forget the weapons.
You know what I'm saying? They got weapons, right? So you got these folks that are like, man, this is kind of cool. And so what they ended up doing is they were like, well, let's take you back to Britain, right? They're like, let's take you back and show you where we came from, and he ended up passing away on that trip.
Interesting. All right, guys, enough about Savannah. I want to get into you guys personally. Now, Courtney, you said you're the empath, right?
No.
Is there an empath? Well, you look like it. I'm getting that empathic vibe from you.
I mean,
I'll be honest with you. She looks like she's a total empath, but I'll be 100% honest with you. She does not budge for shit. Like this woman. Sorry, maybe I shouldn't cuss.
No, you're good. You're good.
She does not budge for nothing. I will run out of a room, and this girl will be like, "What'd you hear? Well, what's going on?"
So there's no gifts. You have no senses besides the.
Okay, so
the
more you work with the paranormal, the more you get in tune with it.
Right? Yeah.
So I wouldn't consider myself an empath at all. I mean, but we can pick up on feelings. You know, like ew, it gets eerie. Ew, it feels disgusting. And your body's your best tool when it comes to paranormal investigating.
Definitely.
It's not about the gadgets and shit that we have. No, it's your body. So if your body tells you something, that's what you go with.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, like, when I was younger, I was kind of empathic. Like, I would pick up on certain things, and I think more like maturity age, I kind of started losing it. But like Courtney's saying, there's certain situations I could walk into, and you're just like, nah,
I'm good.
No, I'm good here. Don't need that shit.
There you go. If your body tells you to pee, you go pee.
You go pee. that's I think, is just human, right? I think we all have it. A lot of people say, how do you practice being psychic? You know, how do you practice doing, you know, we all have it. It's an evolution. It's an evolved state. I mean, we at all one point in time, we ran from a saber-toothed cat. You know what I mean? So you walk into a certain location and you're like, nah, I don't. Saber-toothed cats today. I'm good.
All right. Now, what made you guys want to? And I'm gonna tell you guys, man. People think being a paranormal investigator is so fun, it's so educational, but it's just as dangerous as being a cop, a firefighter, or a Marine and all that stuff. Man, you can really get hurt by doing what we do. So why did you guys want to indulge in such a dangerous profession?
History.
Well, there's a lot of history. Tell you that, man.
She says history.
I mean history, but is there? Okay, we can say history, but is there something deeper that pulled you guys in to want to do this?
My thing is like, I grew up in a house that was haunted, right? So I was scared. But you know, once my family started noticing what it was, now it was like time to set it up. Now let's see where the keys go to. Let's see where this stuff disappears. Where does it go to? I mean, there was times where you find keys in like the vegetable drawer of the refrigerator. My mom would be like, "Why are your keys in here? I lost those 2 weeks ago. I have no clue." You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Right.
So, I mean, my thing is like when people start kind of, my thing is more about helping people, right? So, we've had 2 or 3 cases in the past couple weeks that, people have stuff going on in their house. Courtney straight up saw a shadow figure in these people's kitchen. It was fully lit. We weren't investigating. We were just talking to them. I mean, you technically become a psychologist. You break down, parapsychology, psychology that's other than normal, right?
Right.
So when we sit down and we actually talk to folks and we say, hey, listen, there might be some other ways that we can sit down and actually try to work some things out. What's going on?
Mm-hmm.
Right? When you start sorting through things and you start realizing, well, this is creating issues between us. We need this and that. And then this one sees a shadow figure in the kitchen.
Oh.
Yeah. And that, and the wife's like, well, I've been seeing that the whole time. Did you see this? And she explains exactly what Courtney saw. And Courtney's like, that's exactly what I saw. Why didn't you say something? And she was like, because I see that stuff all the time.
So it's like norm to her.
Yeah.
It's norm.
Being scared, yeah, of course.
Get some creepy moments.
Yeah, of course. But the thing is at the end of the day, my thing is am I helping people? Am I helping people be a little bit more comfortable in their own home? Am I helping somebody reclaim their home? I mean, the thing is that with Ghost Coast Paranormal, that's what we do is we will come into your home, help you figure out what we can do and give you the tools to take back your home.
Exactly.
Take back your space, take back your location, take back everything. It's yours, right? So we got to move these things on or whatever we have to do. Then let's clean it. Let's cleanse it. Let's see, what is it that you want to do? That's the first question I always ask somebody when I come into your home. What's your goal? What do you want to do?
Are you guys, I mean, you live in Savannah. Give me the percentage of residential cases, business cases, or landowner property / cemetery / something else location over there.
So when it comes to like the breakdown of like so we can ghost hunt pretty much anywhere we want. You gotta understand, like I know Calvin over at the Sorrel Weed House, like if we want to go over to Sorrel Weed House, we can go investigate that. We can investigate pretty much wherever we want. Cemeteries and things like this we can just walk into and do. That's what's great about this city. If you want to go to Calhoun Square and investigate, you can go there. There's nobody holding you back from going down there and investigating. It's open city. That's what's great about this town. Now, when it comes to what we do, we take home calls. We come in, we'll come into businesses and things like this, but we mostly take calls from people at home. That's essentially where more of our phone calls come from. Our residential calls.
I've had maybe 2 restaurants reach out to us.
Yeah, we've had a few different places that'll reach out, but I mean,
it's mostly residential.
Yeah.
And we'll travel. Like, we'll travel anywhere.
Oh, don't say you will travel anywhere, because hey,
we will though. We just
if you guys can be here within 48 hours, man, I got a location I need for you guys to check out.
Is that right?
Yeah. No, I'm just kidding.
We're gonna shoot that shit over here,
I don't know if you guys want to travel that far.
My thing too is like I think with what Courtney was saying earlier about the history, like
I thought you were asking what got it started.
No, well, the thing is history is intriguing. When we start talking to these things or we start getting communication, like we went down to the hanging tree down in Florida, here recently, and we asked the Devil Tree. Devil Tree. Went down to the Devil Tree where what's his name?
Gerard Schaefer.
Gerard Schaefer was a police officer that was murdering women off the highway, and he would hang them on this tree.
Ooh.
Yeah. So we went down there to see if Gerard Schaefer was around and answer some questions. And we went down there and asked him, I said, hey, with these girls hanging here, I said, how do you think they felt? And over the spirit box, it goes, dead.
Oh.
Like, when you start to communicate, to me, that's the cool part. Like, is it scary? Yeah. Is there potential for something bad? Yeah. But it's just like that thing of, like, you know what it is. You do. You have it too. If you're a ghost hunter, you have it too.
Yeah.
You something inside you that is scared but intrigued.
Definitely.
Do you know what I'm saying? So you're like, but I want to see more. You know what I mean? That's what it is.
Yeah. What part? I mean, who in your city is the most biggest critic for what you guys do on an everyday basis? Who comes up to y'all and say, "Hey, you guys are full of BS. You shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't be doing this. Blah 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 blah." Just want to fill your ear up with a bunch of negativity. Who would that might be in your community?
Scientist and psychologist.
Did you see her face? Look at that.
Yeah, I see that. She's all smiles. But I was hoping to hear, you know, priest and somebody in the
church.
The
church.
You would think, but nah. No,
it's scientists.
The church has almost been more willing to work with us than anything. Like when we say, "Hey, we have somebody that we might have something going on with," they're like, "Send them here. Let's check them out. Let's see what's going on." And we literally had that to where like the priest will say, or the church will say, "Well, we need you guys to go to his house, basically sign off that there might be something going on there. He needs to go in for a medical evaluation for psychology." And then he needs to bring us the slip, and then we're gonna go there.
Mm-hmm. They cooperate with us.
They actually cooperate, and there's a way that they work it. I mean, it's
the biggest question is, do they acknowledge it?
That's why you gotta know your people before you talk to them. Like we have certain people that will.
No. I mean, does the church acknowledge it?
Like spirits?
Do they acknowledge that, if they're sending you to a certain location and, go do a psych eval, okay, what does the church acknowledge once you report back to them? If you do they acknowledge it? Do they say, okay, we can document this?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Wow. Because
and we typically would send them, I would send them to like, the person that we actually did this for, there was a church literally right across the street from his house. So we talked to the pastor there at the church and we were like, "Hey, what would it take?" And that was Catholic. And so we were like, "What would it take, for him to actually be seen for this?" And he said, "Well, have you guys investigated his house?" I said, "We're in the process." And he said, "Well, you need to basically do an investigation, have him go through the psych eval." And he said, "Then we'll start putting hands on him, basically."
Now, does the psych eval really helps a person out? I don't understand that. When you do a psych eval on someone,
yes and no,
it's kind of crazy.
It is.
But most of the cases too, we have to be careful with that because sometimes it's not really the ghosts that are talking.
Mm-hmm. You're absolutely right. And I've had this talk, and I've had this talk to many people that comes on the show, and because we really don't know what these pharmaceuticals are putting in medicine. It could be something. I mean, dude, you can put 9% something else, 90% something else, and that 1% that goes into that 100% of that little bitty capsule can make you see things.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what I was saying about parapsychology earlier. When you start going into people's homes doing this, you really learn real fast that it's not always ghost.
Exactly.
All right. So when you start going into people's homes and you start getting these phone calls, I'll be honest with you, man. I had somebody answer a door one time in a tinfoil helmet.
Oh wow, that's interesting.
Answer the door in a tinfoil helmet. So I mean, get down to brass tacks, right? We want to get down to what's going on with you. What are you on? Are you talking to a psychologist? I mean, we get down to the nitty gritty. We might ask questions that normal people wouldn't ask. in certain situations, but that's what it takes. I mean, once you start learning, somebody's got something going on and they are manic depressive, have ADHD disorders or are on the spectrum or whatever the case may be, then we start getting down to things, right? Okay,
Yeah,
so
definitely.
now we're getting down to what might be going on. And listen, you might need this instead of a full-on cleansing of your home. Let's get you to somebody that you can talk to.
You might need the Vatican.
Right. So what's
You
the
might need the
percentage?
Vatican.
Yeah. So what percentage of the cases that you guys have came to understand that are like that? Uh-oh. Freezing up.
That are more psychological than
Yeah,
say spiritual.
that's more mental than spiritual. Do you guys see most of your cases like that?
Oh, we're good. Okay.
Um, I would say not recently. I was going to say in the past, I would say yeah, it there would be more of maybe 10% would show something, but for the calls that we've been having lately, it's been almost I would say 90%.
Okay. When are you guys
spiritual?
Okay, when is Savannah? I mean, Savannah. I'm back on Savannah because I'm so intrigued by it. What year or season that you see your phone calls, your emails being picked up more than any other couple months out the year? Oh, breaking up, can't hear you. Can't hear you.
Like, talking about tour related or
I mean,
like
I mean, just, I mean,
phone
just in,
calls?
yeah. When is this the
Okay.
most active
Well,
time for you
honestly,
guys?
it doesn't
Summer,
stop.
spring, fall? Ghosts don't have a tendency to like the cold, so they might back off during the cold, and it's hella busy during the summertime because that's where majority of all the bad stuff happen. During the summer, so things might pick up there. I mean, it always say that the weather can sometimes affect things that go bump in the night.
Tell him.
Oh, guys, I can't hear you. Let's see here.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys there?
Do I need to hang on? We're gonna.
Can you hear us? Okay.
You're breaking in and up.
Yeah, hang on. Let's do a private chat.
Where's your plug-in for it?
We don't have it. I got this.
Da, 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 da. All right, guys. I think they're having a little technical
This is
difficulties.
great.
That's okay.
Here, tell him we'll be right back. I just text me.
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear us?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Okay, hang on.
There you go. I can hear you.
Let's do this.
All right. Can you got us now?
Yep, I can hear you.
There we go. We gotta do a switch.
Ready to
That's cool, man. Hey, who's the tech swabby one?
I don't know. I don't know nothing.
Same here, man. Same here. All right, guys. Hey, one thing I do notice is how old are you guys? You guys are young.
Yeah, I'm old.
No, you're not. You're young. You're about 23.
Yeah, that would be fabulous if I really was. I'm 42 and she is
Okay.
25.
Okay. Court, let me talk to you for a minute.
Yeah. Yeah. What's up?
You've been 25, and how exactly do you feel about all the new paranormal investigators that are coming out and wanting to investigate and want to be, parapsychologists and they want to be paranormal investigators? But the only problem is they're doing the way that Hollywood teaches them.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that, and what do we need to do to correct that so these guys won't fall in between the cracks?
I hate to say that, but that's how majority of everything is going nowadays. And that's why certain, a lot of people my generation honestly are getting a lot of hate because of how they're investigating, because it's just we grew up with technology. Right?
Mm-hmm.
We didn't grow up with having to do a lot of research or a lot of going to, the libraries and doing the good research. We're focusing on more of, like you said, what Hollywood is doing. So, faking your evidence or, discovering what makes our equipment go off, or we're all about the views now.
Mm.
Right. So,
Right.
I don't
Now, go ahead.
So I'm not okay with that. I don't like it. And that's kind of why majority of the time I'm with people that are of older generation. I like to investigate with the older generation because they're more about the originality of investigating.
Now, do you think with them doing this, uh, being is it possible that paranormal investigating can fall to the wayside?
I don't want it to. I don't want it to, but I'm gonna be honest with you. Yeah, if we can't teach the generation to how to properly investigate with, not saying everything is demonic or not saying
Mm-hmm.
everything is, evil, because that's majority of my generation. They think everything is demonic. or they want to jump to conclusions that they're going to get possessed, right? It's all about what Hollywood wants, all about what LA wants, what would the views get, right? It's not about
Right,
the
right.
scientific evidence or trying to debunk the situation and go from there.
You're right. Why do everybody think everything is a demon? I mean, there's so many different aspects to what we do. I mean, like you say, if you do the history of a certain location, you will find out that hey, it's not a demon. Hell, it's just an angry spirit. You
Mhm.
know, that wants you out of a certain location. Or matter of fact, is hell, they might just want you out of their damn chair so they can sit down. I mean, there's different aspects of different things, except if it's something that you can't understand, it's not the D word. I mean, it's not a demon. And that's what people need to take and understand that, and sometimes, and it might not be somebody's just that's angry. I mean, it could be ways that paranormal investigators present themselves to a spirit. I mean, it could be different, different things. It don't necessarily mean it's demon. And I'll be honest with you, and I tell everybody this: you come into my location, you don't show me the proper respect, you don't show me the speak the right language, so where we both can understand each other. Uh, it's going to be a situation.
Yeah, you're correct. That's
You
kind
know
of
what I'm
what.
saying? And I'm not being angry. I'm not a demon, but I just don't like the respect that you're giving me.
Mhm.
So it's weird how Hollywood can take something that simple and push it to the farthest ends of the earth and say it's a demon.
Mhm.
Not true.
You're
Not
correct.
true at all. So, what do we need to do? Is it too late for us to save this generation? And if it is, what about the generation after them?
It's
How are
gonna
we gonna how are we gonna get them going if we can't get this generation going?
honestly, what I think it would take is for the generation that they look up to, the investigators that they're looking up to now, like some of these big YouTubers or anything like that, that they're looking to investigate or if they're watching, they need to start doing the original. All right. So it's the people they like, you understand, the people they
Hmm.
look up to. They need to start investigating not so Hollywoodish.
Well, hey, anybody out there on any of these platforms that and you guys are listening, you guys want to investigate, you guys want to do it right, call me.
Yeah.
Yep, speak to your
I was gonna say I'm creeping into the frame here.
That's
Uh,
okay.
um, it's about respect.
That's what
yes.
it's all about.
It's all about respect. It's about what I come into your home, rally you up, and then just bounce. Like, no, of course you wouldn't. You would go in there with respect, and I'd say, hey, well, thank you for inviting me into your home. I'm here with respect. I don't have anything that can hurt you, right? I mean, that's how you approach things. You don't just walk in like a lot of the stuff, a lot of things. Well, a lot of the people that we see on television, and just walk in and, well, what about if I cut my wrist, and what if I do this, and
I'm
it's
Billy
like
Badass. I can
I'm
do
Billy
this.
Bat.
I
You know
can
what
do
I'm
that.
saying?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
So it's less of that and more of just treat the spirits like you would anybody else, just like a human being, like
Mm.
your parents or your grandfather or your grandma or and I've noticed that you get more response out of doing it that way.
Mm. Yes, sir. I totally agree with you. You
Yeah.
know, some of these locations that are well known throughout the country, Pittsburgh Penitentiary, uh, there's so many others. You pay for these locations and you get what you pay for. So if you go in, like you're saying, and you spend $80 for the night and you don't get anything, you've been there all night, you're tired, and you're disappointed because you didn't get the evidence that you want.
Hmm.
And mind you, you come in, you speak all the good words, you come in with the respect, uh, and you show the spirits love, but yet they're not communicating with you. Why
Yeah.
do you think that is?
I just think that it's not. It might be. I don't know. My thing is like I always tell people, I don't know because I'm not. I've never died yet. Right. So my thing is I have to just accept it and be okay with it that they do things when they want to on their time.
It's like fishing.
You
Mm.
know what I mean? I can't be upset that they didn't come out tonight. My thing,
Or
I always tell people that you also got to find something else in ghost hunting that interests you. And that's just being honest with you because, yeah, we've gone to Trans Allegheny, we've gone to Moundsville State Penitentiary and come home with nothing. And on the
mm,
drive back, you're super disappointed. But at the end of the trip, you go, well, I liked the building. The building was super fun. Like that's the thing is me, I'm
mm,
more into, like the architecture and the buildings and the history. To me, that interests me more than anything now. The
right.
ghosts are a plus. If something crazy happens, that's awesome. That's a plus. But you can't just go out expecting spirits to just jump out at you, right? It's on their
Exactly.
time, and I have to respect when it does happen that they made it happen.
Or maybe, and like you say, I have not passed along either, but if I'm thinking if I was a spirit and how I would react towards a certain individual or a bunch of individuals that are trying to reach out to me and want to commute to me. First things first, don't come at me with the BS.
Yeah,
Hmm.
When I, no, but when I mean BS is don't come at me with the same old that I hear every single night because
yeah,
every single night there are investigators that are out there and you hear the same BS and I get tired of hearing that. Second of all, uh, as a paranormal investigator, and I tell people this all the time, you got to think outside the box because there are so many people in the box that are doing the same crap.
yeah,
So you have to think outside the box when you investigating. When I mean outside the box, you got to take your investigations to a new level. You know
hmm,
what I'm saying? And once
yeah,
you and I think once you get to a certain level of paranormal investigating, that's when you will get more reaction. Now, when I mean a certain level, I mean get rid of that damn cat ball that you got. Let's think a little something about out of the ordinary. Second of all, let's get rid of that damn REM pod that everybody has. Let's think a little something out of the ordinary.
yeah,
When people think about, hey, and not only that, guy, it's not just what we present to them, it's the words that we say. Even though we're being correctly, respectfully to them, we got to think about the words that we say because the same words that they say that we say to them is the same words that they hear every night.
yeah,
Hey, can you touch that cat ball? Can you make this do? Can you do that? No, fuck all that. You
yeah,
got to be able to think outside of the box when you communicating with something that you don't understand. First of all, they already outside the box. They're thinking outside of the box already. So maybe they trying to elevate you to a certain level where you can actually communicate with them. You know
yeah,
what I'm saying? So, but when you go into these locations, and trust me, I've done it, but I had to sit down with myself and I talked to myself on the toilet and say, hey, I cannot do this anymore. We have to start thinking, we have to get rid of, not get rid of, we have to break ourselves from everybody else.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Uh, you got to be able to make spirits want to communicate with you instead of you want to communicate with them.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
And that's the way it should be, man. Because right now, it's so much clutter in that box.
yeah,
Nobody's taking that effort to. It might take baby steps, but eventually you got to get out of that norm that every paranormal investigator is used to.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, if I'm a spirit, guys, and I see y'all, I'm like, okay, let me check out these two characters. I'm sitting on the guardrail, and the first thing that comes out of y'all's mouth is, "Can you touch that cat ball?"
Yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna touch it, and I'm gonna sling that some bitch down the hallway. Now, if you want to go get it, that's up to you.
That's up to you. Yeah.
But I maybe just maybe they don't want to hear that anymore. You
Yeah.
know, and you get when we're investigating, we got to use certain scientific methods that they have not seen before.
Yeah.
Especially when we're dealing with people that was gone at the turn of the century.
Yeah.
Gone long. They have not experienced that, but they know enough to notice a cat ball, or they know enough to notice a that scare bear that everybody has. Hell, I even got one.
Yeah.
And so on and so on. It's you got to get out of the norm when you do, when you deal with people like that because it's
I love the simple questions. Like I've seen, bro. I've done more tours, than you could shake a stick at. And I'll be honest with you, the funniest ones are like when the people are like, "What's your favorite pie?" And then like it goes apple, and you're like, "Wait,
uh,
what? Like what? Did we just get an answer off of something like that?" Like, dude, it's just the
mhm.
honesty, like the honest questions, like to me. And when they hit, it hits differently. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, it's the honest questions. It's like, did you even like this freaking place at all? And they're like, nope. And you're like, dude, that's so honest. Like, it's the honest questions, right? So to me,
and
it's like, yeah, you got to think out of the box a little bit. And then sometimes, and I'm sure you've encountered it where you have the 3 o'clock in the morning ghost hunter brain, and you're just like, I'm just going to say anything that might hit, right? So you just you start rambling off some stuff about
right,
something wacky, you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden you get a laugh over the spirit box or whatever the
exactly.
case may be. So like to me, it's thinking outside the box, doing something different. I like like role playing or acting. So like if this was a hospital, let's put somebody on the table and act like we're performing surgery, right?
Hmm.
I like things like that myself. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it is all about thinking outside the box. And then the thing is because, and you asked earlier, why does everybody want it to be a demon? Because everybody wants it to be a freaking demon. Because that's what we see on TV. That's what
Hmm.
they want the dark. They want the most extreme, and they want to be the person that did it first.
Because that gets the most views.
It gets the most views. It gets the most this. It gets the most that. When you go into people's homes, you're not about views. You're not about anything like that. All you're doing is trying to help the people along.
I don't even care about the clicks.
You know what I mean? That's the
Clicks
thing.
are
It's like,
something that I let the brothers in the hood do that. Hey man, if you want click,
yeah,
go over there
yeah,
and do that. You
yeah.
know,
So I mean, my thing is it's about the help. Like, yeah, it's entertainment. You got to think of everything. And we've done TV shows, right? Like I was just on Expedition X last week. It just premiered, right? So I worked with Jack Osborne on Portals to Hell, and it's it doesn't always it's not always what it seems. It's entertainment. A lot of the things that we watch. Now I'll be honest with you. You want to watch a pretty darn honest ghost hunting show? Portals to Hell was a very good show, and completely honest and completely, hey, we're just going to film and whatever happens happens, and that's the way that show went down.
sound like
And
my boy. It sound like my boy Josh Gates, Destination Truth. Man, I love that guy. Because at the end of
yeah,
the
dude,
day,
yeah,
he leaves it up to you. What do you guys decide? What do you think? He
yeah,
never said anything was haunted. He's like, well, what do you guys decide? Have you, he leaves it up to his audience.
yep.
I wish he comes back.
And then that's the thing is, we're so, everything's so scary, like we all want the scary, like you meet kids that come in, they're like, what are you doing here? And I ask a lot of people a lot of times when we start our tours, what are you doing here? Well, I watch scary movies and this just seemed really cool. Well, okay. Well, these are the people that you need to teach, right? And so that's the thing is when people have tours like this and you can talk to a couple thousand people in a month or two or whatever the case may be. We need to teach these folks how to correctly investigate.
Exactly.
That's where it comes in, right? So when people come in and they're like, well, I'm going to stand up here and I'm going to scream at this thing. And you're like, you don't need to. You really don't need to. You can just be respectful and get the same amount. This is a theater, or this is a whatever. This was not an insane asylum. This wasn't a prison. This, people didn't get shanked on the yard here. You know what I mean? So it's different, So when you start to teach, that's where it comes in. It's just teaching people how to really legitly do it.
Have you guys? What is y'all's relationship with other investigation teams that are there in Savannah?
We're open, completely open to other investigation teams. It's just that this day and age, and it's been this way for a long time, is a lot of investigation teams are territorial, and I don't know why. And it's really not just a here thing in Savannah. Everywhere. It's everywhere. And the thing is we all talk about para-unity and what that means to the community of ghost hunters. And I really do think that a lot of people miss the concept. Para-unity is a thing that we should all be getting together and say, you've done Waverly Hills, I've done Waverly Hills, she's done Waverly Hills, they've done Waverly Hills. Let's sit down at a table and let's figure out, what do we think is really going on at Waverly Hills?
Exactly.
Right? Like, not, hey, what did you get? Well, I got the dopest evidence ever. Oh, I got the best piece of this. I got no, what's going on here? That's what para-unity is we should be figuring this stuff out. Instead of fighting each other over space, investigation spots, things like that, we need to stop that shit and really sit down at a table and go, what are we really looking at here?
And I totally agree with you. And I think that's why parapsychologists have not been invited to the big table yet, because of we can't come together as a community. Now, if we can't if we can't come together at as a community, how are we going to be able to manage at the scientific table where there's a magnitude of different people that are sitting there, and if we can't get our stuff together, I see why we would never be invited there. That's
exactly what I'm saying. Can you see such and such ghost team from somewhere, from North Carolina or whatever the case may be, and actually sitting down with scientists? Like, come on. Like, we really need to sit down as a group, have like a spokesperson, have somebody that can talk for us and be scientific about it and be like, this is what we think as a paranormal community that's going on.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you on that, man. And that's something I think that really needs to happen. But the person that needs to represent us as a whole really needs to have their shit together.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Because it's like a presidential election. You know what I
mean? Yeah. I mean, because you're representing us. Millions. You representing millions of people.
Yeah. And I mean, the thing is too, is it's hard to get this stuff all scientifically or stamped, because a lot of people say that we can't produce a controlled environment on a daily basis. Now, mind you, we do a certain location 6 days a week.
But here's the thing, but can any scientist do that?
Nah,
archaeologists, there's no way an archaeologist can do that.
No, I tell you, I had a particle physicist come into the store one day, and he's like, I got stuff going on in my house. And he goes, I've racked my brain with every piece of physics, every piece of science that I possibly, remember him?
Yeah, the
cat. And he comes in and he's like, I can't figure out what's going on. I said, what do you do for a living? He's like, I'm a particle physicist. I was like, whoa.
Can't do it.
And you're not, what is your thoughts? And he goes, you tell me how blood gets on the side of my wall and goes into my ceiling, into my attic. And I was like, wait, what? And he was like, yeah, that's what's going on in my house. Like, it's almost like somebody was walking sideways on my wall, dripping blood. And then they walked into my attic. and it's like,
Yeah.
and he's
That
a particle physicist. You know what I mean? If there was anybody that I was going to trust with any sort of science, it's going to be that guy. You know, when he's in complete disarray about it, like he doesn't know what to do. That kind of tells you something. You know.
so how do you guys handle a case that involved kids?
That's
a number one.
That's a delicate situation, and that's kids are most important. The way that you handle that type of situation is depending on how bad the situation is. But we would also just if it was bad enough, of course you would have to remove the children from the
Mm-hmm.
situation. But my thing is we teach the kids also. If they're able to understand and able to sit down and have a conversation, we're going to sit down and have a conversation with them. We're, like my thing when I was a kid was I knew it was going on, but my parents didn't. So when you really sit down with the kids and you go, "Hey, do you know what's going on here?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, we know what's going on here."
Right.
That's
So how do you guys sit down with someone, a child that is gifted, that can see people, and we all know that sometimes certain things in people's family can skip a generation. So it might not get the mom, but it will get the daughter.
And
You know,
what I always say to kids that have that kind of stuff is go with it. Positive
but
reinforcement. Positive reinforcement to me is the best. If you can get the parents on board with the positive reinforcement and tell them, "Hey, this is just something that your kid has, and it's just like us seeing, smelling, or touching. It's something that they experience, and we can't naysay them or poo-poo them off and say that you're not experiencing this. This is not real. It is real. It's real. They're experiencing it, and we need to back them up on it. Right? It's just like anything else."
how would you guys find someone to mentor them? Because one thing, the most terrifying thing on the planet is a child of an age of 5 see their grandparents in the corner, and they don't know it's their grandparent. They just see this woman over there in the corner just waving at them, say, hey,
Mhm.
that is terrifying. And you
Yeah.
see this person, not only that, hell, when you drive past a damn cemetery, hell, they're having parties over there. The mom can't see, but the kid is afraid to look over there because the minute you make eye contact with someone over there, hell, next thing you know, they're sitting in your damn back seat with your son or your daughter. So, do is there someone out there that can mentor these kids to sit down, show them, what to do, what not to do, how to turn it on, how to turn it off? Because it seemed like the kids today, as much as I hate them, they're a bunch of damn knuckleheads, but some of them do have these gifts and
We're,
they
we're,
do
we're
not
working.
know what to do with them.
We're working with a 19-year-old right now that blew my freaking mind and blew Courtney's mind, and now we work with her, and we're actually bringing her up and trying to work with her and having her hone her skills and stuff like that. So we do that as well. If you have a child and you call us and you say, I need some help, then we're going to sit down with your child. The thing is the reason why it's scary is because we don't understand it. Everything that we don't understand is scary. You know what I mean? It's at some point everything in our life was scary until we understood it and did it. And then so my thing is when we sit down with these children, we have explained to them this is what's going on. It's nothing to be afraid of. If they start telling you something, here's a journal. I bought you a journal. Here's a pen. Just write down what they're saying to you.
Or if they got a cell phone, tell them to text it to you.
Yeah, text it or
Yeah.
like that.
Or, I mean, I've seen kids that you get them a pen and a pad, whatever you see, you draw.
Yep.
Mhm.
Exactly.
You draw it.
So, yep. And so that's the thing is some kids just, they may not understand it, so they may be saying it's an imaginary friend. And and how many times have we thought imaginary friend, and then all of a sudden, something is really there.
So what was crazy about imaginary friends, because my son had one, they don't always go away.
No, they don't.
They don't always go away, man. I'll sit right there, man. I think I walked in on my son maybe 2 or 3 times, and I'm 15, 16, 17 years old. And I'm like, man, who you talking to?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, they want to say it,
Yeah.
but like again, they might think you nuts. They might think something wrong with them. So they're like, oh, and then they'll say nobody.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on, man, you can
Yeah,
tell
but
me.
that's just exactly. It's just explaining to them, like to feel open. And the thing is open lines of communication especially when it comes to kids and parents. You got to have
All
an
right,
open line of communication, and especially
yeah,
when it comes to something like this. I mean, it's just like anything else nowadays. Gosh dang it, like your kid might come out and say he's gay or she's gay or whatever or they want to be a woman or whatever the case is. And if somebody comes out and tells you, hey, I can see and speak to spirits, work with them.
right. All right, guys. One more question, and I'm gonna get you guys out of here because I know you got the ghost tour to do.
Yeah.
Courtney,
Yeah.
this is a very hard question for you, and I
Oh.
want you to be honest with me, and I want you to think about this hard, and I want you to be honest with me. Okay?
Okay. Now you're making
Where
me
would
nervous.
you? Where would you? Huh? Where would you like to go on your bucket list?
Oh.
Gotcha.
Oh. Okay. Well,
Anywhere.
I knocked one off my bucket list already, and that was Gettysburg. But another one would probably be Birdcage Theater.
Wait a minute. Is that the one in Nevada?
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow. Okay. That's the first ever.
Tombstone, Arizona.
Oh, it is in Tombstone. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Arizona. Okay.
Yep.
In any other place?
The Great Pyramid of Giza.
Oh.
That's a good one.
Imagine ghost hunting the Great Pyramid of Giza.
Yeah, but I don't know if Raw would like that.
I don't know either, but it would be awesome to find out.
Yeah, it would be awesome to find out. All right, where would you like to go, sir? Anywhere in the world to investigate. Besides Giza.
Besides Giza, castles. Castles
So
in like Ireland or Scotland or something like that. I'd love to do like old castles.
Oh, okay. Transylvania, Ireland, England.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Hey, actually, guys, before you guys go, I got a lady coming on the show named Annette. She does ghosting getaways. She's actually been to Trans. You know who she is?
I know exactly who she is. She's the one that actually did a ghost getaway at the Pyramid of Giza.
Yeah. So check her out Saturday, Sunday. It'll be a very interesting show.
Yeah.
But hey.
She's a sweetheart.
Yeah. All right, guys. Tell the world how to get a hold of you guys.
Ghost Coast Paranormal on everything you can think of. TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, it's whatever. And it's got our link tree. You can find everything on there. But it's Ghost Coast Paranormal.
All right. Any last questions or anything that before we get out of here?
I want to do this again. You are amazing.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Thank you.
I'd love to do it again.
Yeah.
I would love to do it again too. But this time, I would not focus on Savannah. Savannah got me just. I don't know, man. There's so much.
You come to Savannah, I got a personal tour for you.
We got you.
Personal tour?
Yeah, I will take you everywhere that you would want to go.
First place I want to go is I want to go to the local pub. I want to get drunk, pass out, and get up and do it all over again.
We got some speakeasies for you.
We got you.
Oh, yeah.
We got you on that. Right. Here in Georgia, or here in Savannah, you can walk around with your alcohol. That's what's great.
And not get pulled over?
No. You can walk around.
Well, don't drive with it.
Don't drive with it, but
I mean PI.
Yeah, no. You don't. There's no public intoxication law.
Okay, and what time do y'all stop selling beer?
3 a.m.
Damn. You know what time here tonight? 12.
Yep.
All right, guys. Hey, thanks for coming on the show, man. I really appreciate you guys. If you guys are willing to have another one, I would love to get you guys back on the show where we can have a little bit more time to
Absolutely.
discuss other topics because I didn't get into religion with you guys. I didn't get into the scientific aspect of the paranormal with you guys. There's so many others that I did not get into with you guys because I know the time was short. So I try to condense everything that I wanted to say to you guys in a short period of time. But with that said, hey, you guys, hey, let's go. All you guys that are listening or watching, let's go over there and get those numbers up, man. They're like 895 followers, 456 likes. Let's get these numbers up for them. Hey, you guys take it easy and stay out of trouble. And if you guys, hey, do you guys ever do your ghost tours live? If you do, please send me a link and I can put it out there for you so people can see it.
We haven't done it yet, but that's something that's actually coming soon.
All right. See, I'm picking your brain already. In the meantime, hey, this is Terry with NSPS TV Paranormal. Hey, thanking these guys for coming on the show. I really appreciate them. Like I said, go check these guys out, man. Even if Savannah, go check them out, and hey, they'll give you a free ghost tour. But anyway, hey, you guys enjoy your night, man.
Thank you so much, man. We appreciate you.
Yep. Bye, guys.
Thank you to all the listeners as well. Thank you guys so much for listening.